So when starting off with disulfiram, it's very important to start with a low dose. Some people start as low as 10 milligrams and space it out in between because it has such a long half-life. Some people are only doing one pill per week of 10 milligrams and ramping their way up. So don't feel forced or pressured to start with a really high dose. And the dosage of 500 milligrams is for people 150 to 300 pounds. So if you are not within that weight range, that shouldn't even be a max dose that you're trying to get to. So don't feel pressured to get to the max dose, and people are having success staying at a low dose for the entire course of the treatment. So my doctor said I probably will never get past 62.5 milligrams, but that is to be determined. Taking the medicine in enteric capsules will help you with your dietary restrictions. So I switched to getting my medicine compounded because I'm on such a low dose that I couldn't break the pill up into eighths. So the compounded medication, that one actually I can put under my tongue and it will dissolve and absorb right into my bloodstream. But if you're using just the regular pills and cutting them into quarters or whatever your dosage is, I highly recommend buying the enteric capsules and doing it that way. That means that the medicine is going to release in your small intestine versus the stomach. And the stomach is where the disulfiram binds with copper in the foods you eat. So I feel like as soon as you switch to enteric capsules, then you don't have to cut out all those foods on the high copper list. And that definitely has opened up my food choices a lot. So I think enteric capsules is the way to go if you're really struggling with the diet component of this. When I switched to taking disulfiram at night, it made such a huge difference. I was taking it first thing in the morning and then seeing a client, and basically in the middle of his session, I would start getting sleepy. And then that sleepiness would last the entire course of the day. Once I switched to taking it at night, I'm taking it at like 6 p.m. because at that point, I don't have any more obligations or activities that I'm trying to deal with or be part of. So I'm taking it on the earlier side at night so that it has as much time to kind of assimilate through my body before I wake up the next morning. And now I'm not sleepy during the day. I feel a little run down today, but overall this past week has been so much better now that I switched to nighttime. There's a lot of things you need to cut out of your lifestyle, but when you start at a low dose, it means that you're going to be having minor reactions if you eat something you shouldn't or use some type of topical product that you shouldn't. So I think it's better to, study the products that you shouldn't have, but also give yourself a little grace, and you might be able to continue using the same exact beauty products and then just cut them out as you start to experience side effects. So don't feel like you have to overhaul every single little thing overnight. I think that's very unnecessary because I've found like as time goes on, I'm getting more comfortable with experimenting a little bit more and trying different things. And I haven't had any real adverse reactions from any shampoo or anything that I've used so far. And with the foods, it's a little bit trickier, but I think when you're starting off at a low dose and working your way up, the longer you're on the medication, the more intense the side effects would become. So in the early stages, I think it's important to just experiment a little bit and try to have as much of a normal life as you can maintain. So don't feel pressured to like cut everything off from day one. It depends, but I haven't had any severe reactions that I was like, oh my God, what a mistake. It's just been kind of like the first reaction I had was about 3 weeks onto the medication. I was drinking a cup of tea that had cinnamon in it. And I had a reaction to that and just felt like really nauseous, like kind of like I was holding down vomit for about 30 minutes, and then it dissipated, and that was it. So at that point I knew like I couldn't have that tea anymore. But it wasn't like a huge ordeal. So that one experience gave me a little bit like, okay, I had my first reaction. That wasn't that bad. Like that was totally manageable. So now it gave me permission to start experimenting more and trying a few different foods and stuff that are on the naughty list and products that are on the naughty list that I just feel like, well, okay, I had just a little bit and it didn't bother me. Next time I might try a little bit more and see if it's the portion size of it or if it's just like that doesn't affect me. So feel free to experiment and not take such a drastic life overhaul. Don't let the fear interfere. So this is one that I think is so important because when you get on the Disulfiram Facebook groups, it can be so overwhelming. There's success stories and there's horror stories and there's so much advice on there that is just everyone's experience, and everybody's body is so different that I think you just need to take it with a grain of salt. If you've been living with Lyme, which you probably have, you know what a Herxheimer reaction feels like. You know what all these side effects feels like. Nothing is new. Nothing is different. It's one more medication that you're going to have reactions from. But I honestly feel like it's no different than anything else I've been on. So I'm having more success with it. So that makes me excited. And there are more success stories. So that gives me so much hope. But I find like there's so much fear surrounding using this medication. And I think it's pretty unnecessary. And I wish I hadn't been so fearful like the first couple months. And now I've let go of that. And I'm just kind of like, okay, wow, that was so unnecessary. Like, why did I put myself through that? But I really was feeding off of all the fear in the social media world. So don't do it to yourself. You've got this. All right, I hope that helped. Those are my top 5 tips right now for living life on Disulfiram. I hope you have the best possible outcomes in your journey, and I will keep sharing on my blog posts and maybe a couple more videos if I figure out any cool tricks or strategies on making life a little bit easier. So in the meantime, I hope you find that reason to smile today, that one little thing that gives you joy and makes life worth living.